Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, November 8, 2019. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. 757 students each receive a $500 EC gift award today from the government for their performance at this year's CSEC, CAPE and Associate Degree programs. At a handing over ceremony held at the SVG Community College, Minister of Education Sinclair Jimmy Prince says the monetary award should not be seen as a handout, but rather an incentive for hard work, and gave a breakdown of the number of students in the three categories who received the award.
CSEC 377, CAPE 225, Associate Degrees 155. Please permit me to pause in recognition of the achievements of all students who at this moment are enjoying the fruits of the harvest. A great percentage of you have done exceedingly well in the external CAPE and CSEC examinations, as well as the associate degrees. You have scaled the ladder of academic achievement and have done yourselves, your family, your schools, and this country proud. This award is a result of a policy decision by Cabinet and is designed to assist students in defraying school expenses, and in particular, costs associated with sitting external examinations.
This is the 8th year that the government has been providing students with the incentive for their academic performance. In his address to the students at the handing over ceremony, Prime Minister Dr. Raul Gonzalez said while he has been criticized for the initiative, he will not have it no other way, as it has to be done.
All kind of spurious reasons they offer why we shouldn't do it. The simple truth is that we want to incentivize you, and we want you to know that you will get just rewards for your labor, and it's an important educational instruction and experience to know that if you meet certain minimum benchmarks for your CXC, your A-levels, the CAPE, or your associate degrees, we will give you $500.
The Prime Minister encouraged the students to pursue higher tertiary level education, noting that they should not have an excuse for not doing so, as the government has made it easier for them.
You get better grades. The more of you get better grades, believe me, I will find the money, not to give 49, but to give 75, to give 100. Whatever you produce, I will meet you along the way. I want you to know that. I am not running away from the deepening and broadening of the education revolution.
In other news, SVG will host the next annual conference and general meeting of the Caribbean Area Network for Quality Assurance in Tertiary Education, a CANCATE, after the National Accreditation Board of SVG formally accepted the invitation to host the event in 2020. At the 2019 conference held last month in Grenada, Chairman of the SVG National Accreditation Board, Dr. Roslyn Ambrose, informed the convention of about 200 delegates from the Caribbean, Canada, and the United Kingdom that the board was pleased to host the 17th edition of the CANCATE conference.
So St. Vincent accepted this invitation, and on the 19th of September we received a response from CANCATE saying, in quotes, CANCATE was delighted. Well, St. Vincent was excited, and we accepted to host the next session of the conference and annual general meeting of this organization. Following our invitation from CANCATE, the Dean at the Trinity School of Medicine was quite happy to accept to be the host location for the next session of the CANCATE conference.
Dr. Ambrose indicated that the convention next year will be held under the theme Higher Education Quality Standards in the Global Market. She also said that several sub-teams have already been identified and a call for papers will soon be made by the board. Senior Education Officer in the Accreditation Unit of the Ministry of Education, Decima Hamilton, also delivered a paper at this year's conference titled Issues for Agencies and Higher Education Institutions, Preparedness of Senior Managers to Maintain a Culture of Quality in Post-Secondary Education. The piece focused on the importance of the role of senior managers in fostering a culture of quality in post-secondary education. CANCATE works to promote capacity building among countries and institutions of higher education. The conferences also facilitate regional discourse on policy and research in the fields of quality assurance and quality enhancements, while engaging policymakers, researchers, evaluators, administrators, and faculty in professional development. Infectious disease specialist Dr. SVG-TV continues to champion the need for healthier eating and proper hygienic practices. Her comments comes in light of the current flu season, which experts predict will be an active and possible severe. Dr. Davies said a proper diet is the best defense against the flu.
What is happening is that there's more activities of viral illnesses, acute viral illnesses, which includes fever, headache, some vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pain, joint pains, and the whole work. We know in the last few weeks we have seen a surge of some of these pathologies, and we have to always remember that they're viral. But what I've seen in clinical practice is that once persons get these viruses, they seem to be a little bit more virulent these days. They're coming down with secondary bacterial infection. So you may find, for example, someone has flu-like illness, and within 2-3 days they start coughing up yellow or brown stuff, and then they now have a bronchitis or even a pneumonia. It's happening quite quickly these days. So we want to urge persons to keep their immune systems up. And how do you do this? Proper diet. When we say proper diet, we don't mean that you should eat everything that you see, but you should consume proper food from all of the classes of foods. You should have your vegetables and your fruit. Stay on top with your vitamin C.
The infectious disease specialist said along with vitamin C, persons should take a 7 seeds cod liver oil and engage in proper hygienic practices.
And I've always recommended the 7 seeds cod liver oil. I know people make their faces when they hear 7 seeds cod liver oil, but it's worked in the past and it's still working now. I've seen a lot of people come to my practice, and those who are on the cod liver, they tend to either not get the flu, or if they get the flu, they actually don't get a really bad clinical picture of it, so they don't get as ill as others. It's not to say that if you're taking XYZ product that you wouldn't get ill. It depends on how exposed you are, and repeated exposures can make you ill as well. If someone is at home or at work with the virus, for work people really should stay at home and not go about spreading the viruses. So if you're ill, I know some employers don't like to hear that, but if the person is ill, they really should stay at home and not make the entire work staff ill. If you're going out in public and you have to touch doorknobs, pass money, make sure that you have your alcohol 70% hand sanitizers and that you wash your hands frequently.
12 heart monitors will be distributed to several health centers across the country to improve prenatal health care service. The heart monitors, which cost approximately $10,256, were donated by the Toronto-based Supreme Medical Company. Minister of Foreign Affairs Sir Louis Straker handed over the equipment yesterday to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Cuthbert Knight. While thanking the company and the Consular General for the donation, Sir Louis asked that there be proper care and accountability for the heart monitors.
Grin. But we cannot be receiving these gifts, and when they are needed, they cannot be found. If we were to have those donated last year with those we have this year, I think we should have a supply of these monitors to keep us for a long time. So we trust that our appreciation would be conducted, and please do not hesitate to write a letter to Mr. Huggins expressing our thanks. I know there are a lot more coming from Mr. Huggins and from Howie Prince.
Permanent Secretary Knight stated the significance of having such instruments in hospitals.
I wish to say also that these Dopplers are of tremendous value to any healthcare system, also to the unborn baby. It is a piece of instrument which can allow us to monitor a baby, even while that baby is in the womb of the mother, to let us know what is the heartbeat, and which is very important to the health of the child. So it is very significant, a very significant piece of instrument, and we are grateful for this.
This is not the first time that the Supreme Medical Company has donated medical supplies to SVG, with another donation expected next month. Schools, government departments and ministries observed today as Vincy Tourism Day and heeded the call by the Ministry of Tourism to participate in the observance of this day by decorating a space reflecting ecotourism or festival tourism. The day's activities form part of Tourism Month celebrations being held under the theme "Tourism is everyone's business. Live it, love it, embrace it." As part of their display, the Ministry of Tourism and the SVG Tourism Authority highlighted Blues Festival Tourism 2020. Minister of Tourism Cecil Sesmaki said that Vincy Tourism Day is for locals to embrace the country's tourism product and become more tourism conscious.
One of the initiatives as part of Tourism Month this year is this very special event that is being held today, Friday the 8th of November. Today, we have encouraged different ministries and departments and schools to dress up in celebration of Vincy Tourism Day. So Friday the 8th of November, recognized as Vincy Tourism Day. Here at the ministry, we are leading the way. And you see here before us a banner that depicts January 22nd to February 5th as we would put on Blues Festival 2020 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
A number of other activities are planned for Tourism Month. Minister Mackey said this year the focus is on eco-tourism and festival tourism, and a competition is now underway involving schools, government departments and ministries.
We have encouraged as part of these ministries and schools and departments dressing up their venue is depicting either ecotourism or festival tourism. The ministry, we are depicting festival tourism with the Blues Festival. And I must add here that the ministry is not competing. We have 13 entries, we have 7 schools and 5 ministries or departments participating in this special initiative this year. If you could recall, a couple of years ago, we had Just Like a Tourist Day as one of the initials for that particular year. But for this year, we have dress up depicting either ecotourism or festival tourism. And I'm happy to report, as I just indicated, that 13 entities have entered this competition. Judging of that competition will be done on the 22nd of November.
The government of Canada is continuing to expand its worldwide network of visa application centers to make services more accessible to a wider audience. To better serve applicants here in SVG, a new visa application center opened in Kingston on Thursday, October 10th. A news release said as part of the visa application process, Vincentian nationals must provide their biometrics, which include fingerprints and a photo, once every 10 years when applying for a Canadian visa. a study work or temporary residence permit, or each time they apply for permanent residence. The biometric information can now be done at the Visa Center in Kingston, located at the Inter-Island Trading Company Limited in Upper Middle Street. Now we heard that the RSVG police force is investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of taxi operator Hermas Ashton, also known as Trimbler, from the Old Buff area in Camden Park. According to reports, Ashton, who is in his 60s, was found dead in his home by family members. Initial reports indicate that Ashton may have ingested a poisonous substance. The police say they are waiting an autopsy report. However, no foul play is suspected at this time. Our news team caught up with neighbors and a close friend of the deceased who shared fond memories of him.
You have a little puppy. The puppy is the mayor of the village, what I will talk about, dog mayor. So sometimes the puppy gone all over the place and she gets pregnant very often. And every time Chimba will say, you want a puppy? If you want a puppy, come and take one. And it was so heartbroken last night. It was about, let me say last evening, it was about like after 6 going to 7 when I got a call from a guy who does work with him in his yard. Say they just meet Chimbla dead in the house. What I was eating, I just cried out loud and drop it and run. Whatever caused him to do, whatever he do, if it's he at all, do it, because I can't say. God is the only judge. Whatever we meet there with him, we have to leave our judgment to God. But it really breaks my heart to see such a nice neighbor pass away in such a horrible way. You know, it's a great loss because it's like everybody have their ways, everybody have their weaknesses, but it's like how we deal with things. But everything went well, everything was in order, no bickering or anything like that. So I just pray that his soul rest in peace, because he was a very helpful person in the neighborhood, very helpful. And then he have these 2 vehicles and it seems as though they were giving him trouble. You know, they weren't working properly and things, so it seems as though all that bring on stress. You know what I mean?
But come on and call me over there. Then you come and look for you. We all go somewhere. We used to leave and go a Friday night, a Thursday night by girlfriend country. You come down at 9 after 9, miss to it. You come down and go by girlfriend. When you come and bring load, you go down the supermarket, carry them a Friday morning. Yeah.
But you remember him as a good person?
Good person, man. You not really say thing about. He just give me a little word and think, but we just have to take for your word. Because I don't take that nothing. Because everybody plan and say, oh, you give what so? We say, well, I don't concern. I just got some to that. Yeah.
So basically, you know, you and him are good friends?
Good friend, man. I don't let him down.
The police are urging business operators in the South Central Division selling intoxicating liquors to pay up their liquor license or face prosecution. The division spans from the bridge in Annisville in the vicinity of Ace 2 to the bridge at the North Union Vegetable Market, inclusive of interior villages. Persons are reminded that Volume 14, Chapter 473, Section 3, Subsection 1 of the Liquor License Act states any person who sells, exposes for sale, or disposes any intoxicating liquor without being duly licensed to sell the same or at any place or in any manner that is not authorized by the license to sell the same is guilty of an offense under this act. The police say liquor license checks conducted in the South Central Division has revealed that there are many persons who have failed to pay their license to date. The police are urging these persons to pay up their license or face prosecution, and they are also appealing to persons who may be selling a liquor using the wrong liquor license to get the correct license to sell same. Inmates at Her Majesty's Prison Service put their culinary skills to the test yesterday at a bake-off hosted by 2 final year students of the University of the West Indies as part of their social work practicum. The goal of the bake-off, which incorporated females and males from the Kingston and Bilal correctional facilities, was to help the inmates harness a skill which can assist them to earn a livelihood when they leave the prison walls. SVG-TV's Bavin Oliver tells us more in this report.
The inmates of Her Majesty's Prison gave their all to produce attractive and tasty culinary delights in the bake-off competition. And while the men and women behind the prison walls were happy to display their skills, there was friendly but tight competition between the male and female inmates at the Kingstown and Bel Air correctional facilities to determine which facility has the best bakers. Given her impression of the competition, chef and main judge of the competition, LaToya Lewis, highlighted what impressed her the most.
The sausage and the way how the ladies did the quiche and they never made it before. They really impressed me. But all the teams did good and the teamwork was great.
Alright, so you think this is good enough to work in like a large restaurant or a hotel?
Yes. And I think it should be like a yearly competition for the inmates. It should be doing this like a year.
One group from the Kingstown facility and another from Bel Air tied for first place. Though there was no clear winner, each group believed what they gained from the bake-off was worth more than any trophy.
Well, for the quality, it will be a kind of secret between me and you. I've never actually been in the baking before, so it was like a first-time opportunity for me. Seeing such good quality come out of it was really, really amazing to me. Yes, you know, it surely helped me to get something when I get out, and I keep it everything right locked in my computer, knowledge gain.
Because actually I worked in the hotel industry for several years before, right, within the 90 era, so actually regarding the food taste and the quality of the pastries is something I actually have an idea about already. So work-wise, once society accepts me back for who I am, not for what I did, likewise they have no problem with that, but job-wise, it's okay.
The two UWI students who hosted the bake-off competition, Shara Roberts and Enda Weeks, say they were impressed by the work put in by the inmates.
And the quality of produce that was done today, the work that was done today by the inmates, it was spectacular. I know a lot of people have their stigma attached to the inmates, but I could clear that up by saying prison food, the inmates here that do the baking, they are simply the best, because I myself had sampled prison bread before and it was really good as compared to some bread that I would have eaten outside in the supermarkets. The inmates take their time to craft their product, they take their time to bake, they take their time in doing everything.
Then my colleague was there too and didn't have a plan at the time, so I said, why not let us collaborate? So this is another thing of showing teamwork, collaboration, and let us go out there as stakeholders. And we went out and we got people to come on board with us. And we had some hiccups, but as you can see today, the hiccups weren't very obvious because everything went well. The prisoners are all good to us. They did well. And it was a project which I had in mind forever, and now see it come to fruition. I'm so proud. So very proud, and I know my colleague is also proud to have come along and worked feverishly and gotten something done. So we have a write-up to do for UE, and I pray that the write-up would be as good as the plan which was implemented here today.
For SVG-TV's Evening News, I am Bavin Oliver.